The NFL award ceremony is tonight. Bo Nix is in the mix for Rookie of the Year, Sean Payton Coach of the Year, and Patrick Surtain for Defensive Player of the Year. I think PS2 is the best chance of winning an award, and if you want him to take some hardware home tonight, show him by liking today's video. Welcome on into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. On today's episode, I want to talk about two of the players on this list right here. We'll briefly talk about Pat Surtain, hopefully winning Defensive Player of the Year because of the amazing season he had and a very well-earned and deserving trailing campaign to his first Defensive Player of the Year nod. But I also want to talk about another player on this list that I think the Broncos could be targeting in free agency. But some background on PS2 with the ceremony tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, and PS2 is the favorite to win the award, and I have a good feeling that he will be taking it home. The last couple of years, it's been pretty cut and dry who the Defensive Player of the Year winner is, but there have been instances where it's come down to just a few votes. Von Miller was barely edged out by Khalil Mack. A decade ago at this point now. So it could come down to really close vote total, but I think Pat Surtain is going to take it away. So let's show the guys some love. Type number 2 down below in the comment section. But I want to talk about another player on this finalist list, and that is the person you probably looked at and went, I know everyone else, but who is that? The linebacker for the Eagles, Zack Baun, former third-round pick by the New Orleans Saints under Sean Payton. Signed a 1-year, $3.5 million contract with the Eagles just to be a special teamer. I mean, you can look at his snaps with the Saints from 2023. He had twice as many special team snaps compared to defensive snaps during his 4 years with New Orleans. But once he gets to Philadelphia, all of a sudden Nick Sirianni and this defensive cast with Vic Fangio found and saw a real gem of a middle linebacker. And he had an incredible breakout season. Over 150 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, which I know that number doesn't jump out to you, but for an off-ball linebacker, that's a sneaky amount of pass rush from someone who's not, on the field to necessarily get after the quarterback. An interception and 5 forced fumbles. So I pair this with the article that I came across from CBS Sports by Jordan Dejani, who predicted the Broncos go out and sign Zack Baun. You can read what he had to say about this. So I thought, all right, let's discuss a little bit here because there appears to be some level of smoke when you've got CBS Sports writer predicting that the Broncos go after Defensive Player of the Year finalist Baun, and you have Sean Payton who drafted him back in 2020. You put those two things together, and I fully expect Sean Payton to be aggressive in his pursuit for Baun. We have a good amount of info to go off of here. For one, yesterday on Radio Row on the Up and Adams show, Sean Payton said he's going to look at linebacker and safety in free agency and in the offseason. He started off by talking about the need to get a joker on offense, which we did a whole video about on the channel, so I invite you to go watch that. And then he later on mentioned middle linebacker and safety. And so with him already publicly stating, we want a middle linebacker, a player he drafted, entering free agency off a breakout season, I don't think I need to spell it out anymore for you. This is a guy that Payton is going to go after in free agency. Now, I've got one more piece of information as to why I think that's the case. But really quickly, today's show made possible thanks to our friends over at Game Time. If you want to go to a Nuggets game, an Avs game, or any other sporting event in your area, Game Time has this really cool feature called Game Time Picks. What it does is it'll filter out the fluff and it'll show you the best deals. We're talking price for where the seat is. Plus, you can filter by city. So if you're not really sure what you want to do, let's say you're traveling, you're in Denver, you're in Vegas, LA, wherever you are, and you're like, what's going on? Because I don't want to stay at the hotel all night. Hop on Game Time, see what's going on all around you. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Circling back to our linebacker conversation, another reason why I could see Payton pursuing Baun, for starters, Cody Barton is going to be a free agent, so you have a current void at a starting linebacker position, along with Alex Singleton coming off a torn ACL, so there could be some internal concerns about Singleton's ability to get back to his pre-injury form. Now, I'll just state right now, I like Cody Barton a lot. I think Cody Barton is your equivalent, not quite equivalent, that's giving too much credit to Barton, sorry, but an example of you can find good linebackers for cheap. Right? You don't have to spend big money to get good linebacker play. Barton, sure, not nearly as good as Baun, but over 100 tackles, 5 pass breakups, a sack and a half, and a forced fumble, an interception. Like, he had a really good season as well. So it's not like a quarterback where you have to invest big to get big results back. No, you can find above average linebacker play with relatively cheap contracts. But maybe the most obvious reason why Sean Payton will pursue the former player he drafted, he has done it 12 other times. I went back and I counted, and I might have even forgotten one or two guys, but I have counted 12 players that Sean Payton has signed that he coached in New Orleans or traded for. Adam Trotman, the one trade that I can recall right now. So we have a clear blueprint of it's a one-way ticket from New Orleans to Denver. And if you played under Payton at some point and you are on the open market, you are going to get a phone call from a Denver area code. Now, you're probably wondering, all right, what about the whole payment side of things? What would it cost to get Mr. Baun? Well, here are the top 10 highest paid inside linebackers, and I don't think he's going to get anywhere near Roquan or Tremaine Edmunds, but probably somewhere between C.J. Mosley and Patrick Queen. So I'm going to predict that he gets a 3-year, $33 million contract. That's an average of $11 million, making him the 5th highest paid linebacker or the 4th highest paid linebacker in football. Guaranteed $15 million, so 2-year, $15 million contract more or less. I don't believe after one season a team is going to rush to give him top 3 linebacker money, but probably closer to top 5 and closer to 5 specifically. So with that all being said, I would love to get your thoughts on this topic. Should the Broncos sign him? Or do you think like, hey, just re-sign Cody Barton for half the price of Baun? You're getting back Alex Singleton, and those 2 linebackers are more than adequate enough to get the job done, and you can take some of the money you budgeted for Baun and put it in another positional need. I don't think either path is a bad path. What I do think is Sean Payton will get his man. So, want him or not, if he wants to bring back the guy he drafted in the 3rd round, I'm not sure a dollar amount is going to get in the way, knowing how much the Walton Penner Group loves to spend. No, he's not going to give him $20 million and make him the highest paid linebacker, but if it becomes a little bit of a bidding war, I expect Payton's paddle to stay up the whole time. And if he really wants a new middle linebacker, and there's a guy that he has a connection with coming off a Defensive Player of the Year finalist season, you guys can connect the dots on yourself. Like, it's going to happen. Before we get on out of here, name a random Broncos defensive player. I've got one in mind. I want to play a quick game here. I'm going to count down from 5. I want to see if we both see this, if we both say the same player. There's like someone on TikTok that does this, or in my case, Instagram Reels. So I want to see if we say the same name. All right, count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Brandon Marshall. If we both said Brandon Marshall, let me know in the comment section below.